All right, we're good? All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube and wherever you may hear us. This is Pastor Dowell, and these are all the elders. Well, not every one of them, but the majority of the elders here in the ministry of Straitway. It's unfortunate, but we have to make a video like this. And the reason why we have to make a video like this is because we can't let or allow somebody else to tell our story without actually everybody knowing the truth of the story or the accounts of any time that someone makes a video about us or say anything. We're hoping that this will be probably the last of this type of video for each and every last one of you, but also hoping that it'll be a learning tool. And what the nature of this video is about is it's about teacher Eric Robinson, who has actually decided to leave the ministry. And we're going to address some of his allegations and some of the things that has been purported to be allegedly truth. And we're also going to speak towards the accusations of slander and a couple other things. But hopefully the intent of this video is to actually let everybody understand the spiritual aspects of everything and to see exactly the reason why we function the way we function. And we would like to believe, and matter of fact, we know it, that we do everything by the book. That's the reason why we are up here, because we're accountable to each other. We do it by the book, and we let the book speak for itself. But not only that, remember what the Most High said. Remember what the Messiah said. He says, by their fruits you shall know them. So we'll start off here with Pastor Corey, the leader out there in Straitway, Kansas. And let me also say this too. Straitway is a ministry with the name of Straitway. And the reason why we use the ministry as the name of Straitway, because we are literally on the straight way. It's an identifying marker. But make no mistake about it, we're all Israel. Every single one of us. And we are part of the tribes that are scattered throughout this diaspora. And we're just part of the people who have actually come together under the banner of unity. And let me say this. I want to address this before I turn over to Pastor Corey. It's amazing how that when we go and we read Mark 16:17, when it says, and all these signs shall follow them that believe. For those of us that are filled with the Ruach, and those of us who believe in the power of Yah, we accept this. And everybody has a 100% consensus that we're believers and we're all in this. And is that right? Yeah. But however, when it comes to another part of the word that it says over in Acts chapter 2, and all that believed were together and had all things common, now all of a sudden people cherry pick and choose about what they're going to believe and not going to believe. Whereas we have a consensus, a 1% consensus about Mark 16, that believers should be able to be filled with the power of the Holy Spirit, speak in tongues, cast out devils. But then when we get over here, all of a sudden, that's not for us. Well, we don't do it like that. If the book says this is the way that we should be, this is exactly what we do. And to let you know of the spirit and the order of things that we're doing, if we allow you to hear from our lips in itself, we're not going to go over and give you a whole bunch of scriptures and a whole bunch of studies. You should know that by now. If you want to know more about the ministry in itself, the archives is to the apex, to the apex with all types of teachings and everything you need to know. So Pastor Corey, all right, with this teacher Eric Robinson thing, before he decided to make it known that he was actually going to be leaving the ministry, and let me say this, if anybody wants to leave the ministry, that includes anybody up here, if you want to leave the ministry, we have no chains on you to lead the ministry. We're only bound by our oath and our words to each other. That's it. But if you believe that the Most High Yah is calling you to do something like that, by all means, do that. I mean, and that way we'll have the opportunity to give you a good farewell, right, while still being in the faith. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because what we really truly need to understand is that this is the Most High Yah's work. This is his doing, and we are just so happen to be laborers together and helpers together in this. We are joined together in common unity. We're joined together in unity simply because when you look at the history of Israel, they were always together, be it in freedom or in captivity, they were together. So with that said, Pastor Corey, well, we're not going to be long, but we want to kind of keep it brief here. But when I had gotten wind that teacher Eric Robinson was leaving the ministry, I noticed that he wasn't reaching out. He wasn't communicating with me at all. And I asked you, can you reach out to him? You care to explain to everybody out there exactly how that transpired and what happened? And when y'all speak, please speak loud.
Yep. So, in a brief manner, when I called Teacher Eric, he didn't pick up. He ended up calling me back, and our conversation, just in a brief manner, was that I wanted to know what was going on. You know, your videos are being taken down during the feast. You're not here. You know, part of the time, I know you're going out to see Mom, but what is really going on? And so he said, well, he felt like he was called to Nebraska. That's where his ministry is. You know, and he asked me, what do I feel like my ministry is? My ministry is here. I'm part of what Yah's doing, part of the building up. He's bringing his people together. So with all that being said, to just skip past all the extra talk, the deal was when he said he was going away, he said he wanted to go away quietly. And I'm saying, that's for somebody that's not in leadership. You're in leadership. You can't go away quietly because you are out in front of the people. Yes, so the correct thing to do is you need to get in touch with Pastor Dowell. You can't just go away like that. You're going to have to give him a call, brother. That's what the admonishment, that's what the whole phone call is about. I don't care how everything was put. I don't buy into all the extra speech. To this day, the respect is due to call somebody. I can't abide that Yah's going to tell me not to call somebody when, number one, he's asking us to dwell in unity, or he's asking us to be at peace with all men. And then all of a sudden, he's going to say in this manner, when you just heard Pastor say that if you want to leave, it's a way that you can be sent off. Well, that's how I felt when I was having a conversation with Teacher Eric, but it didn't happen in that manner, and that's what the admonishment was about. All the extra talk, the 2 hours in video, we don't even go through all that. You didn't call, so now there seems to be a way to try to, and I don't even want to say manipulate the minds of the people, but sway a thought as if some things were done incorrectly, and all you had to do was call. We could have eliminated this whole process. It's just as simple as that.
And the reason why we're here, we're not here so much for Teacher Eric Robinson or anybody else that at one time was appointed to be in leadership and they have since kicked the traces. We're here for you, the people, for you people to actually hear exactly what's going on, because we know that if people only hear one side of the story, they usually are inclined to believe that side of the story. But the book teaches out of the mouth of two or more witnesses, let every word be established. Now, when I was, he brought up in the video about the way I left Bishop Elder Mulberry and Prophet R.G. Sterry, okay? And when I left Bishop Mulberry, I actually showed him exactly what was going on in the scripture. And I let him know this is what the Most High Yah is leading me to do. And of course he said, Yah's not in it. He's not with it. He's not with that. And of course, it's the scriptures about dwelling together in common unity. All that believe were together. They sold their proceeds, all their goods, and no man had nothing he called his own. Well, he wasn't with that, not because it wasn't right in the book. It's because that's what he didn't want to do. And so I left under good terms because I communicated. Not only that, I owe the old man that honor in the first place. Then rather than just get up and kick the traces and nothing being said. People do stuff like that in Christianity. But like Pastor Corey said, when you are in a position, a called position of the Most High Yah, we don't have the liberties and the freedoms that a lot of people take. And I wouldn't even address it really so much as that, but people take it as that. The liberties and freedom to go out and gather abroad as we want and just to do as we do, there's an accountability amongst, not only amongst us, but amongst for the people themselves. And when I left R.G. Sterry, I'm not going in all these situations. I actually communicated with him. He said I didn't communicate with him, but I've communicated this hundreds of times. I actually communicated with him for the reasons why. He still would call months after and ask me to come back and be a part. And I told him, as long as this type of alternative or whatever this particular lifestyle is going on, we can't be a part of that. We can't bring that spirit and be a part of this. And I actually communicated with him. I think as men, that's what we are supposed to do. The majority of all of us up here have been in some form of disciplines in our life to where we understand what it means to have accountability, We understand what it means to have honor and integrity, and this is an honor situation. This is not only an honor, this is a moral and value situation as well. And so at the feast, we're going to skip ahead right here. Teacher Shane noticed the bizarre behavior what Teacher Eric was doing. And so Teacher Shane actually addressed him. Do you care to speak to the people what you addressed him on, Teacher?
I addressed him on the fact that it's not right that you should be tenting at your mother's place. And while everybody else, all the elders and all the saints are coming together here, that let us know right then and there that you have moved your tent somewhere else. And I did lovingly rebuke you, lovingly reprove you, trying to get you back on track. But I don't know, is that where the offense ended in or what was going on at that time? But that's pretty much the gist of the matter.
Now, yes, it's no secret. As you would actually see in the book, you had Paul and Barnabas. I mean, you've had Paul and Demas. We go on and on and on about people who were once with the man of Yah at that particular time, and then they, for some reason, be it contentious, dissensions, or whatever it is, they decided they were going to go their own way. But actually, all you have to do is just look at the fruit of that. Right. That's all you have to do is really truly look at the fruit of that. We've had people, and we're not going to go into their situations, but we can actually call their names. We had Elder Frank, who was actually from Washington State, used to be a part of the ministry, and he decided to leave. But he communicated with us the reason why he left, and it's been nothing but a peaceful transition. And I will say this, the majority of the people who lead this ministry is not because they're actually wanting to go out and be a light and an example of the Most High Yah for his ministry. It's because there's usually something else in their heart that is taking place. And that's the reason why you don't usually hear too much about them, because they actually have, the majority of them have fallen away. Elder Spinney, I noticed he was on their comments, and he was doing a lot of commenting yesterday on the video that Teacher Eric was doing. And this man left because there was a situation, and he has sit in judgment of others. But then when all of a sudden sin was found at his door, and now it was time for him to be judged, he did not want to meet the conditions, so therefore pride was halting and sneaking right there at the door, and he decided to kick the traces. We all know about Elder Austin's situation. Basically what he's done is he actually stole the land of the Most High Yah that was actually committed to the saints of the Most High Yah, betrayed our trust, took our sweat equity, and not only that, a hell of a lot of money with it. And he kicked the traces on that, and we left that at that, and we done turned it over to the Most High Yah. Addressing the situation about how he said that nobody over there in his ministry is actually going to be slandering or slanders or backbites or talks about anybody. Well, I think that's a false allegation, because you have the likes of Mike Fuller and you have the likes of Victoria Hardwick. All you have to actually do is just go and listen to what they actually said, and you can see the direct opposites going on. But what's really truly happening here in this particular ministry that he says he's now a pastor in is that, again, the people that are now listening to him, that's their prerogative. They can actually go do it. We're actually glad that they're gone. But the people that are there doing it, it was actually people that came to this ministry. So in essence, you are building your ministry off of another man's ministry, because they didn't come because you got the word specifically out there yourself. And not only that, but if you look at these people that have actually left the ministry, they all have a unique spirit, something in order, something the same. You care to speak to that, Pastor Muir?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a few things that, that you said that make total sense. One, and I always stand by, when you can read throughout the entire word, when God's people are obedient, they're together. When they're disobedient, they scatter. And it's simple. Not only that, what you alluded to in the beginning of this video, which was that we can believe Mark 16:17. But when it comes to being together, it's like, oh, I don't have to do that. Which is hard to believe. What is really clearly showing is this, me thinking and seeing this situation, what is clearly showing me is there's some type of selfishness there, honestly. Because I just don't understand how you don't want to be around God's people, how you don't want to share with God's people everything that you have, everything that's in your possession. That should be something that the word tells us to be lovers of hospitality. We're supposed to love one another in that manner, okay? Now, to answer your direct question about people that leave, the characteristics, If you look at the people that are in the comments of these videos, the number one thing you'll see is offense. All of these people left this ministry offended at some point. And even when you brought up Elder Spinney, I don't know Elder Spinney, but I do know people that was in that comment section. And they all left, the ones that I do know even personally, they left because they were offended and they didn't want to sit in judgment. They were doing some type of foolishness and they didn't want to sit in front of the elders in judgment. And see, those are the things that, I mean, and the last thing I'll say too is even before the faith, there was a certain type of honor. There was a certain type of respect, even as a man, to let you know, hey, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. You know, go straight to you, call you on the phone, something like Pastor Corey was saying. This is exactly what I'm gonna do. Hey, I'm gonna distance myself, I'm gonna lead a ministry, whatever it is. But there's a certain level of respect. Everybody saw the oil get poured on this man's head. So how are you not accountable to at least share that with the man of God in this ministry? The man of God in this generation. I just don't understand that as a man. And now even in the faith, even all of the more so, there should be a level of respect, a level of honor, a level of dignity that says, you know what, hey, this is what I feel that the Most High is leading me to, and this is the direction that I'm going in. And it's really just that simple.
I don't ever recall myself ever saying I'm the Moses of this generation.
You never said it.
All right, but anyway, he that was one of the allegations and stuff.
Well, many people have.
Go ahead, El.
Many people feel that. They see that level of anointing. They see that level of power. You know what I'm saying? So they see it and they say it. That's the best thing in the scriptures that they can equate it to. So that's not you out there self-reporting and self-advertising. It's how people feel. Like some folk come and they need a father, and someone will be that father figure for them. Someone may need a big brother or an uncle or a mother. They fit that role. You fit that role. So I don't understand the allegations on something stupid like that. Other people say it. That's what you are to them. People say you're a prophet. What's wrong with that? If that's what he is to you, that's what you're seeing, that's what he is to those individuals. Now, if he's a prophet, yeah, we understand how that process is gonna go. But again, how is it an accusation? Don't push it out there like, see, what you want to do is this. You want to diminish what's going on here. Here's the big difference. I'm sorry, I didn't even jump.
No, go ahead.
This stuff frustrates Elder Rufus. I'm glad we got elegant pastors that sheeple, because y'all can speak well for the folk. I don't have the patience for these people. Buy good riddance, so the hell on. Get out. You never were with us in the first place. But here it is. You have these things going on. You want to compare yourself to the man of Yah that's been chosen by the Father, brought all of us into this way, right? Look at the fruit. When he left, he's well surpassed anything that was before him. The bishop, the prophet in R.G. Stair, the ministry that he's doing is going well beyond what they do. Do you have that testimony? The ones that are offended, the ones that are put aside, the ones that walk away, and you say, well, Straitway's this, and they do this, they do that. Show me your fruit. Show me how you have surpassed what Straitway has done. Show me you even on a trajectory to do it. No, the scripture was very, very clear about this. They're going to come together, but it ain't going to last. They're going to gather a few hundred here, but it ain't going to last. We've seen this before. You say this stuff all the time, Pastor. We've seen you before. We've seen this before. You can make it. I ain't even seen the video. I haven't seen Eric's video. I know it's a piece of trash. I know it's a piece of crap. I already know it. People following you. They in that same boat. This is the, like you said, you trying to build a ministry off another man's work. Off another man's work. You didn't go out and do videos and folks say, you know what, that's the man of Yah. Let me go see him. Let me get the Straitway. Let me get around those people. That's not what's happening. You getting degenerates. You getting disobedience. You getting rebellious. You getting folk that don't want to submit. They don't want to follow script. That's what you get. So deal with your headache. Deal with your headache. I saw one thing a while ago, him saying in some video, how he don't want to receive their money. Give it to the poor. Do this. That. Man, shut up that dumb stuff. You ain't know what the poor is. And the reason you don't want to receive their money, you don't want to be held accountable by this. You want to be held accountable. Because the book tells you clearly, if this is the work I'm doing, am I not worthy of your material goods? Am I not worthy of that for doing the real work? So why won't you receive it? That's a bunch of crap. I don't have the patience for that stuff. I'm glad you're gone, all right? I'm glad you're gone. I'm glad all those folk that disagree with Straitway, that have an offense with us, I'm glad you over there trying to follow him. So you get anointed as a pastor, a teacher here, and all of a sudden you're a pastor. And all of a sudden you're a pastor. Who anointed you that? Show me the men of God that came and said, we see you as a pastor. We're in a position to do it as leadership, and we're going to anoint you, like the book say. Show me that ceremony. Man, y'all on some foolishness. That's what it is. Y'all on some foolishness. You offended. And here's the thing. You never had greater love than you got from Pastor Dowell in this ministry. You don't even know love. This is real love. And we man enough to stand in your face and say, come deal with it. Deal. Hold on. About every one of us done sat in the judgment seat. Now I'm talking about all of us here as leaders. When it came to our door and y'all said, you know what? I can expose this now. You at a point, we can get this out, deal with it as a man. Guess what? We all sit down there and let each one of y'all judge us. And we became better men from it. Our families grew, our communities grew from it. You can't face the judgment. You can't face the seat of accountability. Man, y'all foolish. I'm a little pissed we gotta do this video. I'm really am. I'm a little pissed we gotta do this video. We here for a beautiful wedding with our brother, and now we gotta do this stuff because you want to run your mouth. But I get what you're saying, Shepherd. It ain't for you. It ain't for your fake followers. It's for those out there that you're trying to influence their minds. And they'll get a chance to see what is real and what is not.
It's extreme. You had something?
I do. And this is going to be very quick.
Go ahead.
The slandering part. And as soon as I just heard Elder speak again, and I'm going to call his name, Mike Fullen. I blocked his number months ago because he would shoot me texts all wee hours in the morning. Every time I'm like, who is this? And then you go back and you're like, okay, this is who it is. I literally saw him mocking everybody that stands up here Shabbat after Shabbat, singing and playing musical instruments. In videos, literally sat there and watched him mocking and slandering and doing all that. But then when all of this stuff was first happening and your name got called, that was when I blocked his number. He told me about you slandering. Wait a minute. All I was saying was exactly what you said. I saw a video of you. My first tabernacles, I saw a video of you singing, I met Yah's people living in a forest. And he was singing a song. And then he turned around and he was speaking about Pastor Dowell being the man of Yah. This came out of his mouth. So when you repeat what he said, you're slandering, but you're literally mocking. You sat up here and was mocking everybody that that plays musical instruments and sings songs in this ministry. See, I don't understand that. And that's when it goes to this. Oh, you're gossiping, you're slandering, you're making fun of Yah's people and all of this mess. Man, stop that foolishness. Because that's the people that's following them. Those are the people that's following them. You see? So that just came to my mind as well when Elder was speaking.
You know, it's extremely important for you people out there to know that it is just honorable, it's righteous to let Israel know what your intentions are. Because while this whole time he said he was going to depart quietly and move away quietly, he let Brother Ugly know, or Brother Paul know, that he's leaving the ministry, but he did not tell his family, as he said. He did not tell us, but he did let Brother Ugly know. You see, when somebody uses deceitful practices like that, and dishonest practices like that, what they're doing, they still are out in front, posing as if they're a part of us because it hasn't been communicated. People are still receiving you in the ministry as you're a teacher. And preaching, because they don't hear nothing coming from Pastor Corey, nothing coming from Pastor Dowell or any of the elders about Teacher Eric. So it is under the assumption of them that he's still part of, while he's saying he's departing quietly. Nobody knows that you even departed. That's the reason why Israel is old answer, because what that is the Diablo himself want to go out there and preach and teach what they want to, still while they have the platform of the ministry, and then minister to them And then at a later time, then let everybody know that he's probably gonna lead the ministry. You understand what I mean? And I think that's just highly dishonest. What do you say, Elder Doug?
Well, go back and talking about, what the word hasn't been mentioned yet, but the example. Now, I've been here over 22 years and I've never met an example like we have in Pastor Dowell, any place. We have a lot of these people out there purport themselves to be pastors, teachers, evangelists, whatever the case may be, prophets. But the thing they got, and all they got is a YouTube ministry, and they got nobody with them other than speaking them through a YouTube through the airwaves. They've not taken what they've been told for years and years and years, and to get these people to show that they actually want to be a shepherd over people. You can call yourself a pastor all day long, but the proof again is in the fruit. It's in the pudding. We just got done talking about the foundation here. Okay, so your foundation will be tried. Will be tried by fire, as it says in 1 Corinthians 3. Will be tried many times to see if it's going to be burnt up or survive, but the fires that we've been tried to in this ministry, by our example, have made it from that fire to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. How's yours doing? How's your example of fire doing? How's your pastorhood going? That's what I want to say. Again, it's easy to sit back behind a mic and get a gathering and have people come and say, oh, you're the pastor, you're this, you're the teacher. But get out there and show it. Get out there and prove it. Let's see if you actually have what you say that you have. Let's see if you're actually not a hypocrite in front of the people. The people that listen, now, I don't read the comments, I don't watch Eric Robinson's videos, but I can agree that the people that are on there watching them right now supporting, because as Brother Pastor Muir was talking about, they all carry the same fence. They got somebody to rally around, because he's carrying that different message that pacifies them, that soft message that pacifies the flesh, but there's no real demand there to do anything. Just sit back in your home and type comments. What kind of fruit is that? Where are you going? And well, as we're going about this, about fruit and about the people being together, not to change gears too much, but there was a comment, I think Pastor Dowell had said earlier before we got in the video here about the fact about there's not this idea about doing community, there's not an agreement to do a community. And my thought is, well, the day is coming that's going to prove that what you should have done, you should have listened and been active at that, you're going to find yourself weeping in sorrows, in great sorrow. That's all I want to say.
Now it is utterly amazing how that Israel, when they were in Mizraim, they were together. When they departed out of Mizraim, they were together. When they were in captivity, they were together. We know that the prophets had stated that he would scatter Israel, but then he would also be like little sanctuaries. And what he's doing in these last days, he that scattered Israel said he was also going to gather Israel. And so when we are hearing the apostles actually putting forth the teachings that all that believe were together and had all things common, and no man had nothing he called his own, we're actually obeying the edict and the mandate that the Messiah had already said in Leviticus. He had already put out in Jeremiah 29, when he gives us the mandates and the instructions what to do when you go in Babylon. Actually in Babylon. And the Messiah actually spoke himself, and then the apostles brought it to fruition to let us know exactly what we need to be doing. What we're dealing with today is we're watching people who have their own vain vision. And I noticed that the Most High Yah in his last video did a lot of talking, a whole lot of talking. I mean, a whole lot of talking to him. Said the Most High told me not to do this. The Most High told me, but everybody's supposed to believe that when you say it. But then when we sparingly say we're not supposed to be believed. You understand? So Yah's not doing all this talking. He already done spoke. And he's spoken to us in these last days by his son. And so all this, what the Father told me not to do, is actually contrary to what he actually said do. So we said all that to say this. Hey, you all have the prerogative to believe what you want to believe. You can live life the way that you want to. We're not living life the way we want to. As a matter of fact, we're living our life as a living sacrifice unto the Most High Yah. Because the truth is, none of us would actually choose this life if the book didn't say it. We just wouldn't voluntarily do this, because it is a test. It is a cross. It's a tree. It is a stake. No doubt about it. But we're doing it because we're being obedient to what the book says, and the fruit manifests itself and it justifies itself when you see us. Anybody else have any words?
I do have a word. One thing about being anointed, I mean, if I was to ask you, Pastor, that you want to lead this ministry quietly, would you be able to do that
I can't do it because the gifts and callings of Yah are without repentance. Unlike Pastor Joe Fox, he left, didn't see no reason to give us a reason why he left. But wait a minute, since then, well, he actually said he retired and stepped down from being a pastor. Well, I never read that in a book. I can never stop being a pastor or a man of Yah. I can now never stop, no more than you can actually stop doing it. This is not an option. This is not a company. This is not Bosch, where you have vice presidents and CEOs and everything, and then once they retire, they step down and somebody else comes and steps into place. This is a calling until the day we pass on and go on into the kingdom. We don't have an option to go back to doing whatever we want. If any man put his hand to the plow and he looks back, he's not fit for the kingdom of Yah.
And so all I wanted to say is much is given, much is required. So obviously there's more required of us when we've been anointed. And even when as even person being anointed, there was a huge heavy weight that came upon me. And I knew the severity of this responsibility. I know he mentioned in the video that pastor didn't tell him how to do his job or whatever. But you know something? We have elders. I was able to talk to Elder Rufus, Elder Becker, called the elders and said, hey, what do I do in this role? Even Pastor Dowell, and they gave me their, when they got called and what they didn't have and what they wish they could have done and different things of that nature. So he had that. All he had to do was ask. So anyway, much is given, much required. And last thing too, just like, flies is attracted to shit, and I'm not saying that he's shit. I'm just saying that all the people that's being attracted to that ministry, one of the things they all have in common, they don't want to do community. And so they love to follow somebody that's not going to require something that they're not doing themselves. So that's one of the reasons why he's going to get all the people that's going to be double-minded, division, divide. It's never going to come together. That's what we know is not going to last. And so that's all I have to say. I don't want to add
something on top of that, quick on what the elder said, and I don't want people to forget it. They don't want to do community, but they don't want to submit either.
Exactly.
Keep that part open. They don't want to submit. When you got this milk toast, wheat sauce type of wannabe pastor dude go out here for them, he ain't gonna require nothing of them. He ain't gonna hold nobody on no level of accountability. He'll preach that sugar toast stuff that make you feel good with no accountability, just like Christianity does. These people also do not want to submit. They want everybody to submit to them. When they say something, they want you to follow it, they want you to believe it with no questions asked. But when it comes to them getting in line with the book say, submitting to them to have a rule over you. Oh, well, who said you had the rule over me? You made a statement about Pastor Joe Fox. I hear his response. Guess what it is? I never joined you. I was never with you at Straitway. I was a friend to you, Pastor Dowell. I hear these responses. I hear these responses. The thing is, nobody wants to be held accountable and nobody wants to submit. You got a group of men you see right here, we all submit one to another. Flat out. And it's like Elder Kabir said, it's available. Pastor didn't tell me nothing. I found out I was being an elder, I'm up there reading. He said it, I'm hiding behind the piano. Like, what the hell he didn't say? What? And didn't tell me nothing after that. But I had Elder Becker, I had Teacher Shane, I leaned on them, I leaned on Pastor. We are still here. Ain't no playbook for this. What playbook did Jonah get? What playbook did Jonah? Nobody got a playbook. But you have the Spirit. That's your playbook. But you don't have the Spirit. Clearly. I don't want to miss that part. No, these people don't want community, but they don't want to submit first and foremost.
And you can tell they don't want to submit too, because they always go to, well, I'm doing what God told me.
Yeah.
But God's not telling anybody else. A lot of talking.
Like he's not still going through men to get to you.
Exactly.
That's what we requested. I remember that. We didn't want to hear the voice of Yah. Give us a man.
That's right.
Give us a man. Well, you got a man.
Yeah.
You got a man. You got what you asked for.
That's true.
They just don't want to receive that.
Are we comfortable with God?
Man, come on.
And of course, this is the last thing I want to be able to address. Go ahead, Elder.
Oh, I'm just gonna say that, going back on the community aspect again, obviously that anybody's against community, to me, that they're working directly under the Hasatan. And the reason I'm telling you, because what you're doing when you go a different direction or preach a different idea about community, or people live in community or together, Yah's people, you're actually robbing the benefit of them from being together.
Well, go ahead, Elder.
All right. I don't want to interrupt anybody else. But anyway, what I was going to say was, with community, these people are by themselves. I always tell the saints every single time, I'm safe when I'm with my brothers. I'm in safety in the multitude of counsel. I walk circumspectly. I remember the law when I see my brothers. When I come out my doorstep, every single morning, every single day, I'm around the saints, I'm around brothers, I'm around sisters, I'm around children that I have to be an example to. And we talked about spirit, and y'all saying, well, he hearing the spirit, he just ain't hearing the spirit of y'all. Is what it is. So yes, there's a spirit speaking to him, all right, and it's the devil. And when you solo like that, you're way out there in Nebraska, or you're solo somewhere, you have no fellowship. You have no one holding you accountable. You have no one to be there for you. You know, they have this thing called, oh, I'm doing self-deliverance, or I've been freed, or no, you in the closet, you ain't doing nothing. I've seen people that always talk about, look, El Frank used to do that. This self-deliverance stuff. You're isolated. You're by yourself. You can't grow that way.
No.
You need that iron sharpen iron, and you're missing it. And y'all, you guys are completely right when y'all say these people, you know, that they're joined together, and they have one consent to speak against what they ran from, which was this. So, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brother Ron.
My short time here is the ultimate no standard for me, double standard for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to give all. I have to go all in, but you don't have. But I don't have to do that. But I want the same scenario. 30 years of y'all telling me to do footwork versus, okay, I'm telling myself I'm a pastor now, so I'm getting all the rejects. I mean, it's just this is my perception of things here, but and those are things that I never had a conversation with him.
Right.
And also never had a conversation with Elder Austin. Those are the only two men in Israel in leadership that I've never had a conversation with. And so those are the things that I see just my time here, you know, so I mean, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it is a duck. So
Well, you know, this is it's sad that we have to end on this right here, but it needs to be addressed. In the video, they made a couple of assertions, allegations, accusations, while not being here. And it's actually concerning if a curse was upon us based on the things that has happened at Straitway and the things they're speaking about is such as we've had some sisters here that had complications with babies being born, and we took them to the hospital, but they said that there's a lot of babies dying at Straitway. Well, that's a false allegation. There's not a lot of babies dying at Straitway. As a matter of fact, those babies died in the hospital. And whatever way the Most High y'all chose to deal with that. But then here's the sad part. Whenever my Isha ended up getting pregnant, and she had complications, and she had to end up getting a surclause put in to make sure that, you know, little Hiscock would go for a term. They actually said that was a curse upon me because of the lifestyles that we've chosen to live. Well, only one problem with that. He's a healthy boy. Now what do you do about that? You understand what I mean? And of course, they try to take me on the chin because I actually came out and actually, when we turned Victoria Hardwick over to Satan, and we gave it to y'all and say, here, you judge her, because she made a lot of bad comments about my father while she was yet caretaking him, a lot of slander, and not only did she do that, but she did that about our sister that actually had lost 2 babies. She mocked that situation and stuff, and it was just a foul spirit that come from it. Well, anyway, we turned them over. You didn't hear us say anything about it. And as soon as we got wind of what happened to her, because she had put her mouth on us. Now, the book does say, touch not my anointings and do the prophets no harm. Now, the Most High God said that. You may not believe somebody to be anointed. You may not believe them to be in your own mindset what you think that they are. But the Most High Yah is the one who said that. And we're going to find out if they're anointed or not. So anyway, the sword of Yahweh comes to her front door. And y'all know the story, we did the video on it. And not only that, it's a sad situation because we try to help that family with the curse of homosexuality was on her older son. And the lesbian daughter, the lesbian stud buck that actually just got finished killing a man, killing her wife, and then killing herself. That is nothing but the thief. They come to steal, kill, and destroy. And now you have a little teenage daughter that is also under those perversions as well. And I don't know how many children you have, but it's not looking good for that family. And you would think that after all of this, that it will cause somebody to go out here on the ground, grab a hold of the grass, put their face to the earth, humble yourself and cry out to Yah and ask for forgiveness, but they don't do that. They actually get emboldened even more so. So just because somebody out there has had some type of influence or have actually been in fellowship here with Straitway, that doesn't mean that when they leave this place that they're going to actually give you the true account of what's taking place. When there's an offense in there, inside their heart, they're going to twist, they're going to cant, they're going to distort, they're going to warp all of this. So I watched maybe an hour and something of this video of Teacher Eric Robinson this morning while I was doing the marriage contract. And I said, this is amazing how that these people have this perception to see this way when it's not even the real reality. When you're offended, you're blinded. And when you're blinded, your reality is your reality. But just like one of the elders said up here before, you got ordained a teacher. When Abraham and Lot had a situation, they spoke with each other. Even Jacob and Esau spoke with each other. Even Paul and Barnabas spoke with each other. I mean, we can show you this. So people can say what they want to say. And you people will be fools out there to listen to these hypocritical mockers if they're going to continue to keep speaking like this and then expect that you're going to actually get the unadulterated truth coming from their lives and coming from what they are actually saying. Now, I personally believe that whenever situations are happening like this, there has to be a Jezebel spirit that's actually influencing the man. It's got to be, because you can't have a Jezebel without an Ahab. And he had made a statement and said that, well, I wanted to go talk to him, but the Most High Yah told me not to. Most High Yah wouldn't tell you nothing like that. And a lot of people today are saying the Most High told them when the Most High Yah hadn't spoken at all. Hananiah said that. Most High didn't even speak to him. He spoke to Jeremiah. He didn't speak to Hananiah. And then I said the last thing, this is the last thing. Well, they're trying to say that everybody comes here, they need to come under the banner of Straitway. I thought we addressed that early on, right? And that we need to fall under the order of Pastor Dowell. Well, let me see. When Moses was up on the earth, who was the Israelites falling under the order of? Moses. When King David was in Israel, who was they falling under the orders of? And that includes Nathan the prophet. Are you following me? When Yahshua was here, who did the 12 disciples fall under the order of? And then after he had passed on and went on, you know, he had been impaled, he had a three-way council of Peter, James, and John. And we often see that the apostle Saul would actually go up to Jerusalem and seek counsel of them concerning matters in Israel. And then the Shaul or Paul, he would actually go and he would establish assemblies and ordain elders, and then have those elders to ordain elders. Who did they fall upon? And so the Most High Yah brought y'all to Straitway, which when you got here, you was excited to see me. Isn't that right? And we're here under this banner right here of the Most High Yah. I'm just in a position in a place. Everybody else is in a position in place. And we're doing this because necessity has been laid upon us. And in this position and in this particular place, right, I have to lead a certain way. Does that make sense? Somebody got to get out and be up front. Somebody does. You just can't have a democracy up here where everybody has a vote. Are you following me? There has to be a leader. And I just happen to be the leader of the Straitway Truth Ministries. Now, again, that is just the name of the ministry in itself, but the only leader there is Jesus Christ. Hallelujah. That is the only leader that there is. That's it. We are all up under him, but he has an order in the way that he does things. And we're charged to set order, and no matter where we go. And it is what El Ruf said, these people just don't want to submit, even though the book says, obey them that rule over you, submit yourselves one to another in the fear of Yah. That is what the real issue and trouble is. And the bottom line is, these people, they want to preach it, but they don't want to live it. And such is some of you that are out there today.
Yep.
You want to preach it, but you don't want to live it, and you want to put forth the finger against those who Yah has anointed to actually be a beacon of light to this generation, to show you how it ought to be done. And it is getting done.
Come on.
And no matter how many people rise up against us and keep on continually speaking against us, we still are prospering in every single way. Yah is still
Hallelujah.
calling his people out.
Hallelujah.
And if y'all don't have nothing else to say or anything to add, I'm going to tell you what the book says. Come out of her, my people, and come out from among them, and be you separate, saith Yahweh.
That's it.
All right, Israel, we got to go because we have a wonderful celebration here today. Frogman and Johnny's getting ready to get married, and we love marriage because they get married to a virgin.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right, Israel, we just put this out there for your edification, your exhortation, and your comfort. Hopefully, in some way, somehow, about some type of clarity and understanding. If you're in a good spirit. If not, makes no big deal, but this is going to be the last one to speak on this subject. We move on, we march on to the kingdom.
That's it.
Shalom, shalom. The kingdom is coming. I appreciate it, Ella. That's good.